If you've ever walked into a CT shift feeling like everyone else knows what's going on except you, you've come to the right place. Welcome to the CAT Scan Guru podcast. I'm your host, Karinna Hogan, CT technologist, educator, and creator of the CT Tech Survival System. Each week, we're cutting through the confusion around protocols, contrasts, workflow, and everyday challenges that no one seems to explain when you're learning CT. My goal is very simple: help you become more confident, more competent, and less stress every time you walk into the department. Because let's be honest, most departments don't have the time to teach everything you need to know in CT. Now let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the CAT Scan Guru podcast. Hope you guys are having an amazing beginning of June. Can you believe we're in the month of June? Like, summer is here. It's nice and warm. And yeah, it is freaking amazing. Kids are out of school and my girls are going to summer school. So kind of had to take a little break, social media break too, because sometimes we need that. Considering that, sometimes we need to spend more time with the people that matter the most. So lots of great things happening for the CAT Scan Guru. So if you follow on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because I am going to be posting more educational videos where I'm taking protocols and I'm doing an entire breakdown of protocols. So that is exciting. So make sure either you're on my email list or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, I am in the process of putting playlists on the YouTube channel for the different protocols that I do as far as YouTube shorts and TikTok videos. So those are going to be going up there as well. It takes time because it's a lot of videos, guys. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And then on TikTok, I am going to be posting story highlights. So I'm going to be organizing them and they'll be on the front of my page. So you're going to have to go to my bio and there are going to be highlights where I'm going to put protocols and tech tips and things like that on there. So follow on TikTok, follow on Instagram, because on Instagram, I am going to be putting those as highlights as well. So make sure you guys share this podcast with a CT technologist that needs to hear all this information because I drop a lot of knowledge every single week. I know I've been a little bit absent on my TikTok page is because I needed a break and sometimes we need that. So make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the show, share it with the technologist. Also, I have created, because I know I do sell a digital course along with a CT protocol guide and a pocketbook. Well, I have decided to expand that a little bit further. And now it is one giant program, like a system. So the CT Tech Survival System is what I have created, where I've taken a bunch of courses that I've done and I've looped it into this big system so that you as a new CT technologist can get the best education, tips, and things that you need to be learning while you're doing your CT training. So the link is in the show notes, so you can go ahead and get that purchase today. So it's in the schoolroom, and I go ahead and separate all the different courses that I have. So you will get the CT Protocols Guide and the pocketbook, plus the audio series and the 8-week checklist included in that as well. So get yours today. In today's episode, since some of you are new here, I figured I share my story on how I became a CT technologist. And I know I've shared this story probably more than once, and I'm going to continue to share the story because there's a lot of new people that do subscribe to the show. So hi, my name is Karinna. I am a CT technologist registered. I've been a CT technologist for 23 years now. I can't believe it's been 23 years since I first started scanning. I started my CT career back in early of 2002, 2003, where I worked at a small community hospital. And I never knew that I wanted to do radiology. I got interested in radiology through one of my mom's very closest friends from many, many years. Her niece is a radiologist, and I thought it would be a cool profession to x-ray bones. That's what I thought of it. So I applied to the program, got accepted. There was only 10 of us that got accepted into the program, and this was back in 1998. So imagine that. So yeah, in 1998, because I graduated in 96, and then I took a year off because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I got interested. So 10 students were allotted. I was one of the 10. Only 7 of us graduated. So you can imagine that. My first clinical rotation site was pretty much the only one, is it was a small community hospital on the north side of Las Vegas, which I don't recommend you going out there at night because it's a little sketchy. And it was 3 of us at this clinical site where we went ahead and signed off on comps. We started doing x-rays, going to surgery, and I absolutely love the whole aspect of, shooting x-rays. So there came a time where there was a supervisor in CT and was talking to my supervisor in X-ray, and the supervisor in CT is still a very good friend of mine, which I followed him, through several hospitals later, and said that there was a high demand and a high need in CT. Would you like to train and get paid? I said, sure, why not? Well, I can tell you my first just day in CT is very overwhelming. And I said, what the fuck did I sign up for? Quick little reminder before we continue. If you're enjoying this episode and want a structured roadmap for learning CT, check out the CT Tech Survival System. It is a step-by-step, multiple course I've created for new CT technologists who want more confidence with workflow, protocols, contrast, and everyday CT decision making. The link is in the show notes because it was very complex. There's really not a class or a course. And we're talking, this is back in like 2002. Okay, guys. So CT boot camp wasn't even a thought at that time. There were no courses. There were no college courses. There were no programs. None of that existed as far as I knew in that time period. Okay. So basically you had a cross-sectional anatomy book, the Mosby's CT registry, and the MIC CT registry and the CT cross trainer. Those were the books that you had to study. So I went ahead and learned, and it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of, mistakes and correction and making sure that I knew exactly what I needed to know, how to function as a tech in CT, which was not easy. I didn't even know how to start proper IVs. I had to take an IV class, and that's how I became good at starting IVs on really hard patients. So that's kind of how I got my start in CT. And then I moved on to a bigger hospital with more acuity with the same supervisor who's a good friend of mine. And that is when I was approached to take his supervisor's position because he abruptly left. I did it on an interim basis and learned a lot because I had no knowledge on how to run a department of 12 techs, and I hadn't been there that long. I had been there for 5 years, and there were techs there that were there longer than me that could have done this position, but none of them wanted to do it. I had zero training, but they sent me to leadership courses. They sent me to this, and so that I can gain the experience on how to operate as a supervisor. Then I ended up moving to Illinois. I ended up working at one of the level 1 trauma county hospitals it's the only one in the city of Chicago. And I got approached to take a management position because they thought I would be good because they knew I had management experience. So since I did have a bachelor's degree, I said, sure, why not? I kind of wanted to step away from patient care for a little while. And that experience was probably a great experience because it taught me a lot about how to manage people and how to make sure that you run a department efficiently. Unfortunately, that position did get eliminated. So I did what I do best is I went back to being a staff tech because I love patient care. I love what I do. And I know I can excel at that. Through the course of that, I really grew as a technologist where I had the passion to teach. So in the height of COVID, I decided to make a course for CE credits. It was very successful and it's still running to this day for CE credits. And that was one of the greatest accomplishments. And then when TikTok started to become very popular in 2020, so March 26th of 2020 is when I first downloaded TikTok. I had no idea what I was doing because it was all dancing videos and I just didn't know what was going to stick because I had tried out many things. As soon as I started talking about CT and radiology, that's when my page took off. And it was just amazing. So I started teaching, doing protocol videos, doing, response videos, sharing my knowledge, talking about day-to-day stuff, things that happen in CT, some memes. You get the gist of it. So that's how I kind of started teaching and creating content. And then in 2023, I decided to make a podcast. It did have a different name at that time because when you have a brand, things evolve and you tend to change and evolve with the times to just expand that brand. And since then, I have just, there have been mutuals in the same radiology space that are amazing. They do amazing work. And it is just so much fun to collaborate and talk to them and just trade knowledge with them. So that's how I became who I am today, as far as being a CT technologist, being an educator, creating content. And I launched my YouTube channel in 2025, that January, because I felt that it was time to launch a YouTube channel because the podcast was doing great success. My TikTok page was doing great success. My Instagram, yeah, it's a little slow, but it's reaching more people every single day. So I decided that YouTube was going to be the right course because I do a lot of educational videos and it could reach more people as far as that. So that's how I kind of got into it. And honestly, it has been such a grateful experience that I get to create the things that I love to do and work in a profession that I love to work in and educate the new oncoming technologists to being the best technologists that they can be, which prompted me to make an entire system for new CT technologists so that they can have some kind of direction and education on how to operate during their CT training. Now, it doesn't replace your training and it doesn't replace any site's protocols or anything like that. These are merely tools to help you in your CT training, because you have to remember, none of this stuff existed until we said, you know what, this needs to exist. And that's exactly what I started doing, because when I was a CT tech, none of these programs, CT bootcamp, none of that was available. Not even pulse radiology was a thing at that time. So there is a lot of great knowledge out there, and social media is a really powerful tool that we can reach a lot of people. And I am gung-ho to make sure that you, as a new CT technologist, even seasoned technologists, that they refresh their skills and they know how to go ahead and execute these exams correctly. So that is my episode on how I became a CT technologist. It's kind of short and sweet. And I have to say that it's been one of the most inspiring things in my career because I am super grateful. I've had lots of great times in my career where I even worked alongside the military when I worked at the VA. And it has been an eye opener on how they operate and how they structure, their workflow, especially in radiology itself. So make sure that you subscribe to the show, share this with a technologist that needs to hear it. Make sure you check out the show notes. Follow on Instagram, follow on TikTok, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and get your learn on with the CT survival system for this new CT technologist, okay? Make sure you get in on that system because I've created and bundled courses, the guide, the pocketbook, you name it, and all these extra things for you to learn what you need to learn in your CT training. So thank you so much for joining me in this episode, and I will chat with you guys in the next episode. Before you go, remember this. The goal isn't to memorize every protocol or know every why overnight. The goal is to build a strong foundation that allows you to think critically, work confidently, and continue to improve on every shift. If you're looking for that foundation, the CT Tech Survival System was built specifically for new CT technologists navigating the challenges of real-world CT training. You'll find the details in the show notes. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and remember, confidence in CT isn't about knowing everything. It's about understanding what you're doing and why you're doing it. I'll see you in the next episode.